Welcome back, everyone. Toyshius here, and I am back yet again to give you guys another fresh look courtesy of my friends over at the Loyal Subjects. And today we are checking out some of their brand new BST AXN Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures, like their new foot soldier, the robotic minions of Shredder and Krang, of course. Multiple accessories. You can screen grab this if you want to read up more on the old foot soldier, and they're spouting 31 points of articulation with the barcode as well. And we also have Casey Jones, good old maniac in a Jason mask, basically. Incredible sculpt detail. See, they tout it all on the back of the packaging. And of course, screen grab this if you want to read up on old Casey Jones. And here's the barcode for Casey as well, which leaves us with the Shredder, Oroku Saki himself. Very cool looking Shredder. Also, just a FYI, these are hopefully going to be hitting in and around the end of February into March. So get those barcodes ready and you'll see them hopefully soon at Walmart. And one thing I do want to point out, as far as the artwork goes, it's all right. I mean, it gets your attention that, yes, this is Ninja Turtles, but it's more of that like Hot Topic clip art sort of artwork, which, yeah, this is what really reminds me of these Ninja Turtles figures, to be quite honest with you. So, in either case, this is going to be fun. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of turtle soup. This is a look at the brand new BST AXN Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones, the Foot Soldier, and Shredder by the Loyal Subjects. And of course, here's everything taken out of the packaging, and quite a few accessories for all three of the figures, which is always nice to see. Now, keep in mind, these are going to be in and around that $18 price point, which is still pretty good for under 20 bucks. You do get a heck of a lot in the packaging, but to kick it off, we will start it with the Foot Soldier. Now, this is the standard purple Foot Soldier. They do have a box set coming later, which reminds me a lot of the old video games, multicolored Foot Soldiers, but you do get a bevy of extra hands. You got open hands and weapon holding hands and punching hands, which is cool. They're very teeny tiny, and you get a really nice looking silver Foot Soldier gun, the plunger gun, whatever you wanted to call it, whatever I called it back in the day. It's nice, and it's nicely detailed as well. You do get a Foot Soldier sword, nicely painted, silver. You get a spear, which is largely one color with some silver at the top. You get some silver shuriken, two different styles, and yeah, you get a Foot Soldier to go along with all those weapons. This is a very cool looking Foot Soldier. We'll get to the articulation and everything, but just in him kind of standing there and the size that he's at, I'll also pull out some old Playmates vehicles as well. We'll see how it kind of pairs up, but the Foot Soldier design just really holds up to this day. It's very, very cool. The head articulation will mostly go side to side. Up and down, not so much, if at any. The arms do have butterfly joints. You can kind of see in there. Not to say that it does a whole lot. He does have bicep swivel. He's got double jointed elbows, which is nice. It works. The arms will go up, barely hindered by his little cowl piece, the purple piece. He doesn't have much of an ab crunch. He mostly just kind of swivels and rocks. He does have a waist as well. Now, with the legs, he does have swivel, but they only really kick out back and off to the side. They're going to get hindered by his little skirt piece. So it really is only going to go up about yay high. He does have double jointed knees, like I said, as well as double jointed elbows. It is not the most attractive articulation. Let's be quite honest there, right? Also on the back, you can see it's two different colors of pins. Very subtle, but one's light and one's dark. That's it's odd. We'll just call it that. He does have some foot articulation, no pun intended. They'll rock to and fro. So you got plenty of foot action on your Foot Soldier. And again, I'll reiterate, the articulation isn't the most attractive in those double joints, but for someone like me, in posing him, you really rarely ever see it unless you're getting into that extreme pose. Much like the gun right here, he doesn't have trigger fingers. It's not a huge problem. It's mostly like the old Playmates figures that didn't have trigger fingers either. But in this day and age, let's be honest, it's kind of something we've come to expect. But I really do like the gun. He holds it really well, and he looks good in doing so. And so when taking photos of your figures, if you're a photographer or you just want something cool as far as a Foot Soldier goes, yeah, he does all the tricks, right? You could swap out the hands. You can have him holding all his weapons. Everything fits, which is really nice. But I do like that you can have the more outstretched open fingers and you can put all the shuriken in there as well. So I definitely dig that. And overall, yes, you can get his hands together on the one sword and have him hold it in a battle ready position. So really, it's not the most perfect foot soldier figure, of course, but the scalature, the weapons, everything fits, everything looks good in that sense. The wonkiness of the articulation aside, yeah, it's pretty darn good looking foot soldier.
Now you face the Shredder.
Or however that impression would go. Of course, this is a good-looking Shredder, we'll say from afar. This is one of those where I kind of go, oh, the foot soldier was cool. The Shredder, yeah, he's got his issues here and there. Now, he does come with a three-pronged trident weapon. It's almost Mirage Comics in a way, in some instances here and there, but it's painted nice silver, a little bit of yellow, silver at the middle. He does come with a sword as well. Silver on the blade, yellow at the hilts, and little yellow and green here and there. He's got two hands, extra hands, grabby hands. They're very malleable, which is nice so they don't break, and you get a Krang communicator. Now, of all the different ways to go, oh, okay, what style, which version is this Shredder? Well, given that he's got a Krang communicator, it's kind of more cartoonish in that sense. But Shredder himself, while I would say the foot soldier, you could pretty much include that with anything, cartoon, comics, or otherwise, this particular Shredder has a lot of different looks going on. He's mostly cartoon. He could be a little bit Archie to early Archie in that sense. There's a lot, we'll just say. The articulation is kind of the same ugliness, we'll just say, as the foot soldier, but he has painted pins, which kind of started chipping on me, so that's kind of odd. You'll see on Casey Jones, there's no paint, yet it's still around the same skin color, and he does have wrists. You can swap out the hands. Basically the same as the foot soldier. Now up top, he will swivel, not much of an ab crunch at all. He does have rotation at the waist. Now underneath, you can see he's got basically the same type of legs as the foot soldier. He does have thigh swivel, double jointed knees. Again, not the most attractive. We'll say it once, we'll say it again, and we got one more figure to go. But yeah, we get it by now. And then you have some foot articulation for Shredder. One thing right here, they are accurate. I don't know why they look weird. These things, the little gauntlets on his feet. Everything looks fine on the back, but on the front, there's something about it. They're right and they're wrong at the same time. I don't know what it is. I guess it's not the most attractive of the pieces for Shredder. Everything, armor up top, shoulders, and everything else works, but that for some reason, he's got his big purple cape. And in looking at the articulation at the head, you actually get a lot more going on than the foot soldier, so that's nice to see. You actually get a little bit of up and down. You pop the head off, it's fairly easy, pull the cape off, and you kind of go a little bit Mirage Shredder as well, in a way, not color-wise, but you get the idea. But yeah, pop everything back on, and he goes right back to being a caped Shredder. And then you could start using all the weapons. Now, much like the foot soldier figure, he does hold all his weapons. He looks good doing so. I like the different weapons that he comes with. The pronged weapon is pretty cool. Like, he's the king of the seven seas, right? And he can hold it accordingly. All the different hands, swap out, do all that good stuff. Hold the Krang communicator. That's pretty cool. Very well painted, I will say, with the Krang stickers. So it's not the best figure of the bunch. Shredder, I would really put him more towards the bottom. He has some issues here and there, mainly in some paint chippage in the joints and such. He holds all his weapons. He articulates fairly decent, except for all the wonkiness there. But in either case, if you're looking for a 5-inch articulated Shredder, yeah, he will do the trick. Which finally brings us to Casey Jones. Now, he is vibrantly colored. He's very eye-catching in the same way that the foot soldier is. The really cool teals, the reds, the whites of the mask, very cool. He comes with several accessories. Now, this is where he kind of shines, right? You expect him to come with all these different weapons. Nicely painted hockey stick right here. He comes with a bat, a broken bat, which I will compare to a Playmates green broken bat as well. As you can see the difference there. He also comes with another hockey stick, which right here is the coolest thing. It says Eastman on it, right? Eastman and Laird, right? The creators of Ninja Turtle. So that's a nice little touch, I will say. He comes with a pair of extra fists, so one on each hand, the brown and the white gloved hands. He comes with an extra head as well. Now, we never saw in the cartoon Casey Jones unmasked. This really stands out to me as being a 2002-2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon look for Casey Jones. The long hair, everything else. It is completely different to the hair, to the face that you would see under the normal masked version. So in that sense, yeah, that's definitely that cartoon's version. And then you have the cool golf bag. It's all solid brown, but it has a lot of sculpted details to it. In fact, I just wish had it had a little bit more paint to it, it really would have made it pop and kind of bring out all the details. It is very Playmates in that sense, but you can load up all the weapons that he has, and they all fit beautifully. So he does have some excellent weapon storage to him, and he's got a little strap which you can attach, and I'll show you in just a second. But Casey Jones himself, as I said, he stands out really nicely. The mask is painted beautifully on that. I'll give it to him all day. You got the red straps, the hair is sculpted nicely over it, and then right here on his shoulder pad you have Laird, and that completes Eastman and Laird, and I really like that they did that. It just really gives an extra oomph to this figure that most Casey Jones don't have. So in that sense, I definitely do dig this guy. He's got his sweatpants, he's got his green sneakers, a lot of paint going on this guy. You can see he's got tattered sweatpants right there at the knees, the backside. Everything looks pretty good. Sculpted pretty dang good for being a 5-inch figure. As far as the articulation goes in the head, he will mainly turn to and fro, up and down, very slight, if anything. He does have some butterfly joints. Again, I know these figures have them, but I can't honestly tell you that it really adds to anything. It's more like they put them in, but then it doesn't really do much when articulating them. Yeah, bicep swivel. Go easy on Casey Jones. I really feel like he just was a little bit stuck, more so than the other ones, so go easy. He's got the same exact articulation, which is not going to look good, right? So it doesn't look good at all. But unlike Shredder, he doesn't have the painted flesh. So I don't know why they went that route, if it's really just the same flesh-colored pins here and there. He does have a twist at his abs, not much of a crunch. He will actually move more than the Foot Soldier or Shredder, though. I give him that. He'll twist at the waist as well. Not a whole lot of articulation, at least going off to the side in the legs. He's got thigh swivel. He's also got some double jointed knees, which in terms of all the figures, because of that piece right there, that is, yeah, not the best looking. Well, I can all agree on that. And in terms of the feet, yeah, he's got the same exact articulation, rocks to and fro. None of these have peg holes on the bottom, though. That's a problem because Casey Jones, as you'll soon see with the golf bag and everything, becomes very back heavy. But if you want to swap the heads, simply just pull that off. And actually, I recommend it. Slip the golf bag on then and then put the head back on that route. And you can load them up on the weapons and such. And yeah, it actually looks pretty dang good. I'll give it to him all day. It's a good looking Casey Jones. Now, I have to point this out. One hiccup I ran into when posing him and when loading up all the weapons, he did take a spill. He fell over and then the bag came loose. I originally thought, oh, maybe that's a way that you put it on instead of slipping it over. Now, it was glued at some point, so it's not broken, so I'm going to have to put some glue in there, so just something to keep in mind. But if you want to swap out the extra head, there you go. He looks good as that, but then it's not the costume from that particular version of Casey Jones, right? And we know that's not what Casey Jones looks like in the Ninja Turtles cartoon, kind of sort of what this is going off of. Again, it's kind of a huge mishmash of Ninja Turtles, which make them incredibly different while also being something you recognize instantly, right? You know this is Casey Jones, but you really can't pinpoint it. He's just kind of off here and there, taking all various versions of Casey Jones and smushing them together. And as you've been saying, yeah, posing him, he looks good. He is very back heavy. When you have the bag on him, you got to get him really in a good position or else he's going to go back. That's where the peg holes really would have come in nicely. But in terms of holding all his weapons, the bat and the brown hockey stick works. This larger black with the white wrappings on him, it is in fact a little bit too big for his hands, unfortunately, but the smaller one does work quite well, and you get him locked and loaded. He's ready for the House of Pain. This is Casey Jones 101, right? So either way, head sculpt or not, I do like the mask version a whole heck of a lot better. I like the weapons, the golf bag, everything works for this guy. It's just a few hiccups here and there with the articulation, but otherwise, yeah, it's pretty solid looking Casey Jones. Now, in looking at the scalature for these new Best Action figures, if you look at the old Playmates toys, if you look at NECA toys, you see the stark contrast between all of these figures. NECA is definitely more the collector's line. It's the most cartoon accurate. It looks like it walked right out of the cartoon show, and every detail, every black line is pure evidence of such. The old Playmates toy was its own thing entirely. It sort of measured up to the cartoon, and as you can see, what I was saying with the broken bat from this new Best Action to the old Playmates one, it does harken back a little bit in some aspects. But this new Best Action Casey is basically a smash between the two. You have a little bit of cartoon, you got a little bit of Playmates, you got a little bit of the comic in him, but that's what makes him quite unique and a very different Casey Jones for your shelf. Now, in terms of the foot soldier, this one I would say, in terms of looking at Playmates 2 NECA toys, not exactly cartoon accurate, more so video game. That's what I think about with this new foot soldier. I really do like the purples of him. I like the silver gauntlet. So definitely really more in the vein of the cartoon per se. But if anything, I would say very much the video game foot soldier, especially when comparing to the old Playmates one. They do share some pretty similar characteristics in some sense, but totally different figures nonetheless. And when comparing Shredder, this is where you kind of go, okay, well, I see what they did here. I see what they did here. If you apply it to NECA toys, NECA's, again, very spot on to the cartoon. Looks like it walked right out of the show. This new one, however, I would say is taking a bit from that, taking a bit from very early, some instances of the Archie comics. It's kind of its own thing. It could be video game in some sense. It's definitely not the Playmates one for obvious reasons. Please excuse the Shredder nudity. I am getting a new robe. It really does remind me of the NECA Toys Stern Pinball Shredder, just with the amount of silver all over him. No, it's more of a purple to a gray for the Best Action, of course, so it doesn't exactly match up, but closest to, we'll just say, because again, much like Casey Jones, out of these two and kind of smashing them together and going that route, this Shredder is definitely one all by itself. And just for scaling purposes, when compared to the Super 7, let's say Raphael figure, yes, they are incredibly short. And just to kind of show you various eras here and there of different Ninja Turtles figures, in either case, none of them are going to be compatible. These are a brand new look, brand new scale for Ninja Turtles, so they won't really go with a lot of different figures, but it's still, you can have some fun on your shelf with them. Really, where these actually kind of shine is with the old Playmates vehicles. Now, you have the foot ski. Unfortunately, Shredder, he will scale with it, but because of, let's say, his plastic cape, his plastic garb in and around the crotch area, and coupled with the articulation, the Best Action articulation, you can't get his legs all the way out to the side to do a naturalistic sit on top of the foot ski. So he looks good just kind of standing there, right, from afar, but yeah, you won't be able to really utilize him all too well, unlike the foot soldier. The foot soldier does fare a little bit better. I'd say that he really does scale well. He won't be able to get his butt definitely just right on the seat. It's pretty darn close, a lot closer than Shredder's, but I actually do like the way that this guy sits atop the old foot ski. And of course, just for giggles, putting Casey Jones on the old cheap skate. Now, he will fit. He actually doesn't look too shabby on there. He won't be able to really hold the orange piece. It's a little bit too wide for his hand. You can hold it more towards the base. It's really more for stability, if anything, because he doesn't have peg holes, so you can't fit him on the peg holes on the board. but it just kind of standing there on the board, it kind of fits. I kind of dig it, to be honest with you. But the one that I really like, even though the foot soldier is supposed to go forward and use the two wands at the top, the old knucklehead with this foot soldier atop looks pretty good. It just looks like he just broke through the wall and he's going to mess things up with his gun and his knife. So I definitely do like that as well. Now, with everything I showed you, here's the one prob that I have with this line. Like the best action so far, my Cowboy Bebops through to these Ninja Turtles figures. The foot soldier, Casey Jones, and Shredder, they all scale together. The main problem, though, is that the actual Ninja Turtles are entirely too big. They need to be a little bit shorter. They're almost like the Michael Bay equivalent. No, they're not as big, of course, but they're huge compared to Shredder, Casey Jones, and Foot Soldier. So while Raph might be shorter than Casey Jones, in terms of the size-wise and everything else, it really doesn't fit. So this is really that type of line where you're going to go, hey, I like that character. I'll buy that character for my shelf or for my desk at work, something like that. When thinking about scale, when thinking about how these are all go together as a collection, I don't think that they have that in mind at all. We've seen so far the best action. They don't line up characters-wise, scales-wise, everything else. So these are no different. These three humanistic characters really do go together, but the Turtles are entirely too big. If you wanted to put, let's say, the Foot Soldier or these guys with the old Playmates Ninja Turtles, that's really the kind of size that I think works in terms of these more 5-inch best action. So I would say that the Turtles are doing so far too big, really out of scale, but if you want to put them with the Playmates ones, yeah, they don't look too shabby. So that's really going to wrap it up for my look at the brand new best action, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Foot Soldier, Casey Jones, and the Shredder by the Loyal Subjects. And again, thank you to Loyal Subjects for sending these over to give you guys this early, fresh look. Again, as I'll reiterate, NECA Toys, Super 7, those are the collector's lines for Ninja Turtles. A lot of people would ask me, hey, when are they going to do a budget line? Well, this is more the budget line. It's under 20 bucks. It's got a lot of articulation. They got a lot of different weapons. They really are their own thing when it comes to Ninja Turtles itself. They borrow a lot. They kind of mash it all together, which is not a bad thing. They get a lot right. They get a lot wrong. But they are kind of a fun, different iteration for a Ninja Turtle figure. They're not NECA. They're definitely not Super 7. They're definitely not Playmates. They're their own thing entirely. And it's really just a fun toy to have. These are toys in and of itself. This is not the collector's line. This is not the more expensive collector's line by any means. This is the affordable budget line, and there's nothing wrong with that. They make for some good figures. They do have some ugly articulation in some sense, let's be honest. I like all the weapons. The paint on these, for the most part, is great. Shredder kind of has a few instances where you get some paint fleckage, but for the most part, they're pretty solid. Yes, Casey Jones had a problem with his golf bag. Fixed it. Not something I want to say, oh, it's totally cool, but it's something to just point out. Go easy on your figures. These are meant to be played with, have fun with. They don't have to be taken too seriously. But if you're looking, again, for a very affordable action figure in the vein of Ninja Turtles, well then, these are definitely right up your alley. But I am curious to know what you guys think about these new Best Action TMnT figures. Are they for you? Will you be grabbing? Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, I have way too many Ninja Turtles. It's a lot of fun. Like, don't get me wrong. It's fun to see all the different companies tackling all the different brands, but wow, yeah, when you take a step back and you go, wow, yeah, I got a lot of Ninja Turtles figures. Yeah, you know, it's good and a bad thing, whatever. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.